This is Patrick Roth, Senior Support Engineer for U1 Business Solutions. Today we're going to look at some calculated fields in an extender window. Calculated fields, of course, can be used for any number of things. In extender, quantity times cost, whatever you like to do. But in this case, we're going to look at specifically differences in time calculations. So in this case, the scenario is I have a time start and a time end field that are both declared as time. And what I'd like to see is on my extender window is I want to see that difference in minutes. And so don't have fractions of minutes, so we don't need to be a decimal, so we don't have to change anything like that with decimal places, although that would be fine. So we'll just use number, which is just a straight integer type data. And the calculation seems to be pretty straightforward. Time start minus time end are actually probably time end minus time start. And so if this is 12 o'clock noon, we'd expect 12 o'clock in 9 minutes, and then this was 11 o'clock, we'd expect to see 60 minutes as our difference. So we'll save this. We'll save our extender window. And pull up our customer window that it's attached to. And this was an existing record, but we see we're a little bit concerned already in that our duration is showing as 0, and we would expect it to be whatever this difference is. So if we go back to my example, 1100 and 1200, we'll notice that it still didn't work. And so we're a little bit puzzled on why that didn't work. We clearly had 2 time differences, and that ought to have worked, but it didn't. So what I would do to start troubleshooting this is I was turn on the DEX SQL log in GP, which you do by adding, changing the INI switches for the SQL statements and turning those on. I already have done that, so I don't need to do it here and restart. And so I'll close my window and I'll delete my log. And I will open up the customer window. And just for the heck of it, we'll set this to 11:15. And again, it didn't work. So if we review our DEX SQL log, we'll look at the bottom. Okay, so this is the statement that it happens. So when Extender creates a window, whether it has data in or whether it's just going to be a new record, it creates a SQL temp table, # temp table, and it populates it with the data, which include field IDs. So in this case, the temp table name was #, 089 5317, and so it's pulling the new time field out for the first field, and then it's subtracting out the difference of the second field, and then it's going to update the new total field, which is the numeric field, is new total. There's total and new total, so it's updating the new total field, and where the IDs, this is the calculated field ID, the 232. So it's trying to update it with the results of those, and it ran. We see it run, but it did die, telling us the implicit conversion from data type date time to numeric is not allowed. Use the convert function to run this query. And so we might be a little puzzled about that because we're just taking the difference of 2 dates, or in this case times, but in this case dexterity time construct is actually a SQL date time on the back end, and with an empty date, of course, and on both. But the results of 2 date time differences are also a date time, not minutes. So we have to tell SQL, oh, you need to do something with this. And so SQL is suggesting we should use the convert function either on this or on the results of this, which we could do because we can control this part. We don't control this. This is the update on the back end for the temp table and the IDs, but we control everything in the middle. So we could use the convert to convert both of them to minutes and then subtract them, which, that's just integer and integer math. So that will result in integer, but it's just as easy to actually use another SQL function to solve this. So if we close that for the moment, And let's open up our extender window again. And a better way to do this, oops, is use the date diff function. And we need to tell it what we want the date difference of. We want it in minutes. And then we need the starting and ending times. So in this case, time start and time end, closing function. So date diff, we want this converted in minutes because of course it could be, days, whatever, and we can get that. So we just want the minutes of the difference. So if we pull up our customer again, pull up our window, and we can see right away that it worked. We have our duration of 15 minutes, which is our difference. And I, of course, could punch in whatever number work here. So our calculation works using the date diff function. So that's just to show you how to use troubleshooting with the DEX SQL log to figure out SQL extender calculations and why it failed. And happily we were able to solve this issue.